Okay, in this tutorial I am going to show you how to hoop and stitch a hat on a single needle machine. I have hooped my tearaway stabilizer, and I have two types of spray. I have this one I like, but for hats I like to use this one because it's a little bit tackier. I got this from my local Walmart. We need some straight pins, and we don't really need the scissors. On my tearaway stabilizer, I've just traced out my grid line so that when I go to hoop my hat, it's easier for me to see the center of the line. Now on your hat, there's this little flappy part right on the inside of the brim, and you want to make sure that when you hoop it, you just kind of pull it down. I take my hat and I flatten out my brim a little bit. These will bend back when you're done. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this center line on your hat. I don't know if you can tell in my video, but there's that center seam. And this is what you're going to line up on this seam right here. We're going to spray it with our sticky spray, and then we're going to flatten it down. Okay, so now I have it laid down straight on the line. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my straight pins and I'm going to very securely pin around the hat, and we're going to make sure that this whole part right here is very flat when we pin it. Alright, as you can see, I have been pinning around the hat, pressing it down, just keeping the rest of the hat out of the way as I pin it. So now I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to finish pinning around here. Down here it may be a little bit difficult because this bill is a little stiff and it's hard to get out of the way, but we need to make sure that it gets pinned down right so that our hat does not stitch crookedly. Okay, now I'm just going to take my hoop and I'm going to slide it onto my machine. Let's see if I can hold this at the same time. Just going to pick your foot up, get the hat out of the way. Alright, and it is now on my hoop. You just want to make sure that this flap back here, the back part of the hat, is just up and out of the way so you don't stitch underneath it. And you load your design onto your machine. And I always like to use the trace feature on my machine just to make sure that it's going to stitch in the proper spot. See, I need to move mine down because it ran into the bill of the, I need to move mine up because it ran into the bill of the hat. So you just make that adjustment on your program software. Let's see. That should be good. Okay, so I've realigned it, moved my design up because it hit the brim of my hat, and I'm ready to stitch. So we do what we do best, and we babysit our single needle machines. Alright, if you notice as my machine's stitching, I turned it off so that I paused it so we could see. It's getting close to the brim right here. So I just slow my machine speed down and I just keep going and let it finish. It doesn't get in the way, but prohibits it from jumping off the hoop or something like that. Alright, so my cap has finished stitching and I've pulled it off the machine. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pull out my pins and I'm going to trim up the back and tear away the stabilizer, and then you will be done. Alright, so here is my completed hat. I've just taken the bill that we flattened out a minute ago and I just kind of bent it back a little bit to give it a little bit of the curve. And if you flip it over, I've torn the stabilizer away. If you'll notice right here, I didn't have that little flap pushed out of the way a little bit enough, so it got caught a little bit, but it should look like this. You should just be able to flip that back up and then you're done. And that is how you monogram a hat on a single needle machine. Thanks.